Good evening, y'all. Good gracious. We got 3 videos, 4 videos in one day, don't we? Let's go for the gusto.
Ooh, somebody's busy
on
today.
This one. Yes, got a lot of stuff to talk about today, apparently. Now, this is to the conspiracy theorists and all those people like, why did the media lie to us? Why is the government lying to us about the Titan? Okay, first of all, the name is Titan. All right? It's not Titus. It's not Titanic. It's not Timothy. It's not tumultuous. It's not timetable. It's Titan.
Timetable, really?
Whatever. Okay. Let me explain this to you in dumb speak. Because apparently you guys don't know how to put 2 and 2 together. For the rest of my intelligent audience that are like, dude, the Coast Guard already explained this to us, we got it. You just sit back and just pray for me right now, okay? You just pray for me that we get through this. Because, number one, I don't like breaking things all the way down to dumb. But sometimes you have to. Okay, number one, the video that you watch from this man, I don't know who this man is. I don't know how he's related, but apparently he's got some connections to underwater listening devices, whatever. And he said, I knew right then that they were dead. And so, you know, my friend said they heard a boom right when they lost signal frequency and communications. And so I knew right then. Well, then why didn't you tell nobody right then? Oh, wait, that's right. Because you were waiting. You were waiting to do all this number and whatever. And the Navy also released, the United States Navy, they said that their sonar picked up a anomaly at the point in time of that. But the reason is not a conspiracy. See, the one thing about the U.S. Navy that I will tell you is they do not like options when it comes to knowing stuff. Okay? They like options when they're sending people out to do stuff. So, like, if somebody comes in and says, you know what? It could have been a Russian sub exploding. It could have been a Chinese sub exploding. It could have been a whale farting. It could have been the submersible. It could have been this. Literally, they'll probably get knocked through a bulkhead because they don't like the iffies and the options and the andies. Not in that way. They do like it, however, when they have options, when they say, okay, you know what, if we send the Marines to do that, or we send the SEALs to do that, or we send, you know, we call in the Air Force and they go do this, or we launch off here, or do that, and we'll get the same exact ending. No, we can't use big words. Endings every time. That makes big Navy guy happy. That kind of options. So until they found out what that anomaly, which means they don't know what it is, they don't know if it's a bang, they don't know if it's a fart, they don't know if it's 2 pieces of metal clicking together, they don't know if it's a part of the Titanic falling down, they don't know if it's Canada blowing up. Okay? Not that I have anything against Canadians, except they won't share their bacon. So yes, I have something against Canadians. If they don't know, they're going to send somebody to find out. If they don't know, they're not going to get on the media and say, well, you know what, United States, we heard an anomaly. Well, what kind of anomaly? We don't know that, but we just heard an anomaly. Well, you can't tell us what the anomaly sounded like. Well, as our sonar guy was listening, it sounded like a... Well, what does it mean about a... Oh, we don't know that. They're not going to do that. Okay? What they're going to do is they're going to go boop, 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 boop. Hello, U.S. Coast Guard. Yes, I know how you like to patrol the bodies of waters near the United States and other places. Would you please be a dear and go find out what that was? And the Coast Guard said, why, yes, I will, brother. I will love to do that for you. Thank you very much and have a nice day. No, you have a nice day. No, you definitely have a nice day. Oh, you have a wonderful day. Okay, bye now. Okay? Damn. I have to explain it in cartoon here.
Hey, you know, it's funny, the entire time she was doing that, she actually had, like, the playphone attached to her head, like, you know, the thumb and the pinky.
So the Coast Guard went out. They had to wait for their rescue ship, because I don't want to get hit with a bat calling it a boat, but that's what it is. Their rescue boat to come out with their little ROV, you know, the little thing that went down with the little pinchers and the little thingies and the look around and the cameras, cling, 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 and finding out, picking up stuff and putting it over here and doing all that stuff. That thing, they had to wait until it get out there. However, they may have known before we did. But since they didn't know and everybody wanted an answer, what they said was this. Now pay attention, because this is Coast Guard, military, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and Army lingo. It's broken down. We heard an anomaly. If it's this or not this, then this is what it is. Why did they say that they have this much air left? Anytime they use the word if and then in a sentence, that means they don't really know. However, if it's this predicament, then this predicament is true. Then they gave the information of they heard plinking together, metal knocking together, something knocking together in a timed fashion. People are taking that way too seriously. They did not say they know it was metal knocking together in a timed fashion, so they think that people were banging out SOS, okay? They said it might be, or it may be. We're investigating it. This is what we've got so far. Then they would have this many hours of oxygen left. And of course the media putting the spin on it, they just think they know everything, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, they heard metal knocking, so we have hope. That's not what the Coast Guard said.
Here's another thing. I just thought about this. What were they using to knock on the metal with? There's nothing inside to knock on the metal with.
Banging with their hands. We don't know.
Here's another very valid point. The hull is carbon fiber.
Why are you using big words? 1. 2, why are you putting more information in their heads? We're taking the information we have, we're breaking it down to dumb, and this is why I told my intelligent viewers to please pray for me, because he thinks everybody is smart in the world.
Carbon fiber does not sound like metal when you thump on it.
Me personally, I only think that my beloved viewers, my beloved friends, are smart. That's it.
Okay, never mind me then.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so, then they said, well, if they knew all this, why'd they give us all this hope? Why'd the media put a spin on it? Oh, they're always trying to make money. They're always doing this. They're always doing that. No, it's because the media doesn't know how to translate mill speak into Hume speak and into duh speak. However, I do. Okay? That was their findings thus far. So like in an investigation, for all you investigators out there that have your MS and BS and your armchair, that was their findings so far. Then they heard anomalies. Then they decided we're going to get a rescue ship out here to see what's really going on. Because one thing the military hates is ifs. It could be's. It might be's. They don't like that. And if you think that cops hold things close to the vest, you don't know about military. Military will look you straight in the face, knowing all the options that they have, and they'll sit there and go, we can't confirm or deny that. Or they'll say, we don't have an answer for you. When they say, we don't have an answer for you, it means we don't know for certain. We like to know for certain, and since we don't know for certain, we're not going to tell you crap. That's what that means, that whole large sentence, all in one. We don't have anything right now. We've all seen the Coast Guard when they held their press conference. Now, I'm going to put it in a scenario that many people may understand. If you were a cop, think about how easy it was to work with 4 or 5 different offices, different jurisdictions, different levels of offices, different people, okay? They all had their own little thing. That would be the Coast Guard, the Navy, America, working with the company, the families, the different countries, all of their people, and they wanted to inform the families first. So yeah, they may have known a day or two ahead of time and informed the families. And who knows if the families were sitting right by the phone in order to get that notification. Okay? We don't know. Plus the timetable for time change. The timeline. Whereas, it may have been in the middle of the night, and they didn't want to call in the middle of the night. Because in some countries, that's very rude, and they didn't want to be rude. Though I'm sure they probably would have forgave them and understood. So, it wasn't a media conspiracy. It's the simple fact that the military wants to know exactly what happened, where it happened, why it happened. And yes, if you ask them before they're ready to tell you, they'll say, this is what we have so far. This is what we're investigating so far. If they say so far, then, or, if, and, thus far, any variation of that, that means it's not set in stone. Don't bet your hopes on it. They don't know yet. Okay? So yes, the guy may have had friends with underwater hearing devices where they heard a boom, put 2 and 2 together and said that's what it was. But actually, I don't care how many emails he sent out or phone calls he made. The simple fact of the matter is, he could have told the rest of us just by contacting the media. And yet he didn't. Why? Probably because he was doing exactly what the cops were doing and the Coast Guard was doing, allowing time for the families to be notified and to give them a little bit of grace before they announced it to the world. Okay? And if you listen to the Rear Admiral, you would have heard him say, we will find out when, why, and what happened. And that means they're going to continue this investigation until they've got a strict timeline and they can prove every little detail of that timeline. Okay? And that's the way the military works. In layman's terms. So military don't jump on me and go, oh, well, that's not exactly how we work. I know exactly how you work, okay? I do.
You've lived with me long enough to know.
I know that you guys are very strict and abide by your own certain decorum. However, if I use those words, clearly, as we can see, people will think, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Well, why didn't Robo tell us this earlier? Because I didn't think anybody needed it broken down. But clearly, I was wrong. Okay, I can be wrong. I told you guys I'm wrong sometimes. Not often, but I get wrong sometimes. The fact of the matter is, put your conspiracies to bed. We know that this person who made this boat, this little submersible, operated in international waters. And while I'm speaking about international, Britain, knock it off. The pointing of the fingers is why America doesn't want you in our business when we're handling business. Oh, but, you know, they wouldn't let us get in on the investigation. They said that we could just keep our rescue stuff to ourselves. Yeah, well, you're in England. And maybe they knew that our rescue ship, that does probably thousands more rescues than yours does, without you even knowing, was right by us. Okay? And this is why people do not like to work with other countries, is because it always comes down to the finger pointing. Who cares, Britain?
Damn E-Peen match.
Who cares? You couldn't have done anything about it anyway unless you're damn time travelers. Because as we all well know, that submersible imploded. Meaning, so your rescue boat wouldn't have done crap, but sat there and watched it implode. That's what it would have done.
No, actually, it would have sat there, got there just in time to find the debris like the other ones did.
So the simple fact is, we've got people that are passed on. We've got grieving families. We should be worried about them and sending our love and our condolences instead of turning this into every single time a conspiracy theory, a government cover-up, a media buff to their money. How about we say this? The Navy heard something. They sent the Coast Guard to check it out. The Coast Guard figured out what it was. There are 5 people that are passed on. Their families are suffering. And they're watching all of us sit there, point fingers, say it's some kind of conspiracy, and all they give a damn about is that their loved ones are dead. Their friends are dead. That's what they care about. And instead of all of us getting together as the world and saying, look, yes, it wasn't safe. Yes, there's a lot of things to be mad about. But right now, we send our love, our condolences, our well wishes, our blessings. We're breaking our crystals out, our prayer mats out, the whole 9 yards. We're doing that in solidarity for your loss, because the world was literally holding their breath, praying that these people would see another day and be safe. Instead of coming together as a people, as humans, as Earth residents, we're sitting here making their deaths a conspiracy theory, a money grab. And the reason we're doing that is for clicks and likes. Literally standing on the graves. Because you cannot tell me that anybody is that stupid to literally consider that the military was helping the media and that it was one big conspiracy theory. Especially if you know about investigating and dealing with other individuals and information and families and their right and their need to know before putting it all out there on the airwaves. Instead of being compassionate, loving individuals and using our platforms to show some human compassion, y'all using your big, huge platforms to stand on their graves. You ought to be disgusted with yourselves. I'm disgusted with you. The fact that I had to get on here and debunk every damn conspiracy theory there was just so that we can sit here and say, okay, it was unsafe, it was horrible, and it was a huge tragedy, but let's all put that behind us and consider the people that are left behind to grieve and mourn their loved ones who they probably will not be able to bury. Yeah, you big jerks. You didn't think of that, did you? You didn't think about they won't be able to bury their loved ones. Their loved ones are with Leviathan right now. And may Leviathan gently hold them in the waters. They're not able to find true true and entire completion. Closure. Because they cannot see their loved ones and see that they are there, and that's where they are. And it's not a point of burying them It's a point of knowing where they are. It does something when you go to a grave or a memorial or an empty whatever, and you know they're not there. They're somewhere out there. You people are so incompassionate, you make me sick. I am mentally ill, and my only care right now is for those families to know that someone in America here cares enough to debunk all these big platformers and call them what they are: stupid, cold, and insensitive, when it's their loved ones that are lost. And if it was any of y'all loved ones, you'd be amazed at the audacity of some of my fellow Americans. You'd be amazed at the audacity of the British government. How dare you stand on the graves of these men and this young man and make a damn mockery of this. Can you give the family some time to heal? Can you give them some time to mourn, to grieve, to let them know, hey, look, we don't even know you, but it's so tragic, and we think about our loved ones, and if that happened to our loved ones, how would we feel? And the circumstances surrounding all that, that's so horrible. And use your big platforms to have people pray for these people, that they heal and find comfort and eventually be able to remember their loved ones with peace and joy and happy memories. I celebrate those 5 people because it was because of their exploration, their curiosity, their curious spirits that took them on this voyage. And I am sad, and I mourn their loss, and I mourn their loved ones' sadness. And there's no way in hell that I would stand on their graves to say this was anything but a tragedy, and the Navy and the U.S. Coast Guard and America and England and France and Pakistan did everything they possibly could to work together, and the media gave us updates to have us pray and hope and send well wishes so that we could all be united in these 5 people's names. And you guys turned that into something horrible. You ought to be ashamed. Shame on you. And yes, I am psychotic, borderline schizophrenic, manic depressant, and I say shame on you. You are literally getting shamed by a mentally ill person. That is what's really sad. That I could actually think about how these people feel. And from what my shrink told me, I have the incapacity to have feelings. But I could think about how they would feel and have compassion for them. Or what I consider compassion. You ought to be disgusted. Shame on you. To the families, don't listen to none of them. Thank you, and thank your husbands, your sons, your brothers, your friends for their lives their explorating spirits, their scientific natures. I celebrate that about them. It was a horrible tragedy, but we all are united in your grief, in your sadness, in your mourning. And I pray that you can find solace in knowing that Leviathan is taking care of them now, and they will no longer suffer or hurt or be harmed in any manner, that they are at peace. God bless you to the friends and family, and that's Real with Robo.